Hello, hello. It's Kevin here. So we have an essay for me to assess, and I'm going to be using the official criteria here to explain my scoring. And I've got the essay, and I even wrote a sample essay to illustrate my points a little better. So I've already had a quick look and made a couple of comments and corrections. So many university students live with their families, while others live away from home because the universities are in different places. What are the advantages and disadvantages of both the situations? Okay, now, a majority is not the same as many. You can say that. You don't have to paraphrase everything. It's not a majority, because it's not. It's many, quite a lot. So, many students live, not participle form, with their family during the university period. However, there are students who do not study in a local university, so they leave, not they should, surely leave their home and live in a location next to a university. So we've got university, 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 three uses of the same word. I'll try and cut that out. Pronoun or synonym. Positive and negative aspects in both circumstances, right? This is a waste of words. This kind of scope sentence, as it's often called, is not favoured by examiners. We know you're going to do this. Why don't you simply answer the question? In my view, some good things about this are, however, some drawbacks could be. That's better than wasting words in that kind of a sentence. Now, we don't need this. Repetition, no progression. You've got to show progression for cohesion and coherence. You could simply say, start with sentence 2. The chief advantage is. Okay, so we don't need this. That's a repetition. So, if we start with the chief advantage of being at home at university is a feeling of safety. Now, you say safety here, but you never mention it. You mention comfort, but nothing to do with safety, so don't include what you don't talk about. During the university term, the curriculum is simply a program of study. It's not a period of time, especially in exam times when students should be concentrated on their study, as there is no need to cook or clean. You don't have to put the home. However, there are still some drawbacks. Abstract noun, make it plural. If students, abstract noun, make it plural, live with their families. Sorry. So, for instance, it does not help students to improve their independence, nor independency, their independence, as, instead of and, they still rely on their parents to do some daily jobs rather than do it themselves, such as arranging the expenses. What? So you mean paying bills? Because arranging the expenses, that could mean anything. Or in some cases, driving to the university. What does that have to do with anything? Who is driving? You mean the parents? Why would parents drive you to university? Wouldn't you take a bus? So I'm not really sure what that is talking about. So we've got some interesting points here. Okay, the chief advantage is comfort. You don't have to cook or clean. And then you've got a drawback. It doesn't, really make them independent because they still have to do the daily jobs. I mean, I would have explained that more in terms of household chores and etc. Okay, so on the opposite occasion, when students leave their parents' home and live far from their families, brings some advantages. So this causes to improve. So it makes them more independent. There's no such word as independency. Independent. And helps them to be responsible. How can you raise your responsibility? You can be responsible or be more responsible One further benefit is that they would learn how to tackle problems in their lives. Use to plus infinitive. They should arrange their expenses. You've used that phrase once. And what does it mean exactly? Or they have to cook for themselves. Consequently, they would learn to manage their time and money. A repetition, you've basically said it in a slightly different way, so no progression. Although it has some negative aspects also, the most important point is a sense of alienation in a strange city or country. Now, don't simply drop in a sentence. You've got to develop it, explain it. What does that mean? Example. Further, there's no one to control their behavior if they act inappropriately. Again, don't simply drop in a statement. That's simple assertion. It's not an argument, which is what you're supposed to be making here. You're supposed to be convincing me of your view, of your point of view. Simple assertion is not an argument. So, by way of conclusion, there are benefits and drawbacks in both situations, and it depends on students and families as to whether it is beneficial or detrimental. I speculate. So what does that mean? You do think it's in your view that the advantages of living should have seen that of living far away outweighs living with families. Well, it doesn't ask if they outweigh. It simply says, tell me what they are. Okay, so let's have a look. Task response. All parts of the prompt clear, fully developed. 9 ideas. Well, they're not fully extended. A single sentence is not extended or supported with an example. Clear position, more or less. Are they extended and supported? Most of those ideas are not. You've got simple assertion. How is that developed and supported? You've got a simple, you've got a single sentence. You're talking about a sense of alienation, right? But you don't say anything further. So how is that developed and supported? How is that extended and supported? So again, you've got another sentence there. Again, it's not extended, it's not supported. So these aren't too bad. There's some ideas which are supported and extended a little bit, but in terms of what the examiners want, it doesn't really do the job. So, task response. Have to give it 6. Mainly because of this reason. Not so clear, insufficient, they're not developed. And your evidence, arguments are not sufficient for what they want. Now, cohesion coherence is closely connected to this. Progression, is there a clear progression? As I said, right, these keywords, progress, progression, logical sequence, progression, clear overall progression. Well, as I say, when you are repeating some things, it's not really progressing. And there's no progress here, there's no progress in that sentence, no progress in that sentence. Really, so let's just put some scores down. Okay, if we give it 6, task, response, cohesion, coherence, clear overall progression. Okay, I'll be generous for this one. I'll give it 7. Examiner might not. He might give it 6. Lexis, let's have a look. So, is it a wide resource? Well, university. Doesn't really seem so. Let's have a look. University, university, university. Students, 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 or there's parents, students, 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 parents, students. Okay, so you could vary your vocab a little bit. Less common idiomatic items, rather restricted range, possibly university students, 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 students. You could have used pronouns to change it. It's generally appropriate, but I think the range would pull it down a little, so I'd give it 6 for that. Grammar, well, let's have a look. Grammar, error-free sentences, that's how it works. It's the number of sentences you make without a mistake. So grammar, see, so 1, 2, right, 2 sentences, 3 sentences, independence as, daily jobs, okay, which instead of when, students leave, okay, independence, independency, to be. So, okay, we've got some grammar errors. Let's have a look. What would we say? Wide range of structures, accurately used. Majority, error-free, no. Error-free sentences are frequent, well, no, they aren't. So, I would probably give it 6. It's not bad, but you need to show a greater range, so I'd probably give it 6. So, let's say 6, 6, 6, 18, 7, 25, 12.5, 6.25. I'll be generous and give it 6.5, but I have a feeling the examiner would, if it's 6.25, the examiner would put it down to 6. So I'll be generous, give 6.5, but I believe the examiner might give it 6. Now, I did write you a sample for you to have a look at here, just to give you some ideas. So, many students live with their families at university, while others do not, as the universities are located away from the family home. So I only mentioned university once and universities, different word form. So, clear opinion. In my view, the benefits of living at home are mainly financial, offset by a lack of freedom. While to live away gives a person's independence, but it may be expensive. So instead of that, this essay will tell you some advantages and disadvantages. I tell you what they are. Main idea, short and simple. Life at uni can be expensive. Develop it. Rental prices, especially. So, accordingly, living at home would be ideal because you don't pay rent. Okay. So, one of the main attractions, okay, so this is like we've got advantage and disadvantage. So, the advantage is you'll save some cash. Okay. The disadvantage is if you stay at home, you will be stifled because you won't be independent. You won't become an adult. You're still essentially acting as a child. So, not so good. So, the second one, living at home brings precisely the opposite. If you live in a student town, away from the confines of parental control, you can express yourselves. You can join student groups, get up, go to bed, meet other cultures, make new friends of both sexes, which you might not be able to do in your family home. However, such freedom comes at a price. Rents, utilities, bills, which you wouldn't pay if you were still at home. So you can see the vocab here. I haven't used student, 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 students, parents, 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 and parents. We've used either pronoun or synonym. There are some I have used it, a couple of times, but not so many as in yours. So there's more variation in terms of vocabulary. So, in conclusion, the benefits and drawbacks, blah, 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 two sides of the same coin, expenses and freedom seem to be inextricably linked. Potential student would need to think about blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'll just pull this back so you can see it. And it might be a little small, but there you go. So you can have a look at that. So, you can see the difference between mine and yours. We've got some clear ideas, not just simply dropping in a sentence. It's developed, it's explained, the vocab is better. So, not too bad. Okay? Right, hope that helps.